This is the plaintiff, Regina Pasqualino. She says she needed some handyman work done on her home, and she hired the defendant to do it. What a mistake. He gave her the runaround for weeks. The small amount of work he did was a disaster, and the way he treated her wasn't right. She's a single parent who put her trust into the defendant and is suing him for the return of her hard-earned $300. This is the defendant, John Hale. He says he started the job at the plaintiff's house, but the very next day he was stricken with flu. He told her he would need 4 or 5 days to recuperate, but the impatient plaintiff told him not to bother finishing the job when he showed up. He already bought the materials, was ready and willing and able to complete the job, and has every right to keep the $300 because he earned it. He's accused of not being very handy.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff hired the defendant as a handyman. She says he was awful and awful to her, but the defendant says he got the flu and she just won't wait. It's the case of my temperature's rising.
Thank you, Douglas. Regina Pasqualino?
Yes.
You are suing John Hale, your handyman of 72 hours, for $300 that you paid him for materials and a deposit on his work, and according to you, he didn't return to the job. Tell me what happened.
I called him sometime in December. We met. I told him what needed to be done. Minor, odds and end jobs
Like
around
what?
the house. I sustained some siding loose from Sandy. Like one whole side got unattached. And
So it just needed to be attached?
Correct.
Okay.
I had some water damage in my boiler.
Water damage in your boiler, what was he going to do?
Well, we didn't know at the time. I thought it was water damage from the storm, but later, after I got rid of John, I noticed that I needed a new hot water heater.
Okay.
I had a window that I needed to be replaced, which I have the window. Some polyurethaning on windowsills.
The wood, okay.
I had some cracks in my walls and a crack in my ceiling in my kitchen.
How many cracks?
One in the living room, one in the kitchen, on the walls, and the ceiling in the kitchen. 2 walls and a ceiling.
2 walls and a ceiling.
Sorry.
4 weddings and a funeral. Okay. All right, so go on.
And then there was one other thing I have the wood between the doors, the outside doors, was rotting from water, and he was going to repair that also.
How are you going to repair that?
Polyacrylic on the bottom of the doors. She didn't have screen doors on the outside, so the water would hit the outside of the door and come down to the bottom, which caused the bottom of the doors to begin to rot.
Okay, so for all this work, he was charging you how much?
$500.
And did he ever represent how many days' work it was going to be?
He told me 1 day, tops 2.
Okay, and did he tell you by when he'd have it done?
He told me, well, it was Christmas, so I asked him if he wanted to wait till after the holidays. He said he didn't celebrate the holidays, so we agreed on January 2nd.
Aren't the holidays over by January 2nd?
Yeah, you would think, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I lost that one, okay.
I'm
so
sorry.
It's
Yeah,
fine. So January 2nd is the plan, and what happened?
January 2nd, he came and he said, I can't start the job today, but I need $100 deposit for the material. At that time, I said, well, John, did you do the written estimate? I need a written estimate. He said he hadn't done it yet.
But you gave him $100 without insisting on that?
Yes.
Okay, go on.
I know. So I gave him the $100 and he said he would be back the next day. The next day I called, he didn't show up at 8 o'clock. He doesn't show up at 9 o'clock, and I called and it rang and he didn't answer. And then I called again and he answered and he said he fell asleep because he does other work. He drives or something in Manhattan, and he had gotten home late and he was tired. And he said, I'll start tomorrow. The next day came, he didn't show up. The same thing happened, repeated phone calls, and he said he would finally come on the Friday. He came on a Friday.
So the first day is what day?
This Wednesday the 2nd.
Oh, so when you say repeatedly happened Wednesday and Thursday. On Friday he comes in, and what happens?
Friday he said he was going to be there at 8, and he showed up at 10. He came with no tools. He asked me if I had a wrench, screwdriver, and I thought it was a little peculiar that a handyman would come without tools. So I had been doing some friend's hair. I'm a cosmetologist. I was doing some friend's hair. So I wasn't on top of him while he was doing the work, and I trusted he was going to do the work and I'd leave him be. I heard him on the phone from a good portion of the time. He went outside, and I thought he left for the day. He didn't say what he was doing. He just disappeared. He came back, and about 12 o'clock, he said he had to leave, that something came up. So I saw that he had caulked a shower, And
You didn't list that in the things that he was supposed to be doing.
okay, apologize.
No, okay, so he was also supposed to caulk a shower. And what else?
And he was supposed to rip up the tile in the boiler room where the water and the damage was
Okay.
from the water.
Okay.
He did stay there for a while, and he said, just leave some towels over the weekend and he'll tend to it on Monday.
Okay.
I said, you're not even here 2 hours. You told me that the job was going to be done in one day. I said, now it's the third day. I said, okay, fine, leave it be. He said he needed money for a down payment. Now, my father was a retired plumber my whole life. So I know that the right thing to do is to give somebody some money. And I asked him for a receipt for the materials that he bought. He said he didn't have it. He'd bring it with him the next time.
Then just give him the money the next time. What kind of plumber's daughter are you?
You're absolutely, that's exactly what my father would be saying to me, Your Honor.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm channeling him.
I know. Thank you. So Monday came and he didn't show up. Again, no phone call. I call him.
What's going on?
No answer.
She's lying.
She's lying about every single thing she said?
No, not everything.
Okay.
I have reports. I have cell phone calls. I mean, I made a list of phone calls that he even made. So Monday comes and I called him and I finally got him and he said he's sick with the flu. So I felt at this point, what am I going to do? I have to be compassionate. The man's sick. So, okay, fine. He said, I'll be by tomorrow. John, if you're sick with the flu, how are you going to be by tomorrow? Don't worry about it. I'm coming regardless. Well, the next day came, same thing. It's redundant. I was repeating myself.
Did he come or he didn't come?
He didn't come. He didn't call, nothing. And I said, please, John, I just ask for the respect and the courtesy. Give me a phone call if you're not going to show up. I have to work. I can't stay home and not work. So he promised the next day he would be there. Same thing happened. He didn't call. He didn't show up. I then decided to start texting him because I figured I need something in writing.
So when do you decide I've had enough of him? Tuesday?
Probably Thursday. So I finally called him. I said, John, this is not working. This is like a bad relationship, and I think it's just time to end. I think that it's only fair
That's good. If every woman got rid of a bad relationship in a week, we'd all be so much better off.
So good.
All right, so it's
good.
a bad relationship. I know already. So you tell him I want my money back.
I said I was settling for $150 because he did come and worked for about 2 hours.
Talk to me. What's going on? Because tell me what parts of what she said are untrue.
So if he had the flu, is that an excuse for the delay?
I don't think so at all, because anyone could get sick, and you should at least give like 24 hours of notice before not coming to somebody.
Gee, I think I may have the flu in 24 hours. Going inside the courtroom.
First of all, she walked me around her property. She showed me everything that needed to be done, and I gave her advice on what needed to be done and how to do it properly. Then we went down into the basement where she showed me her two main problems, which was the water in the boiler room, and which she explained to me that she would do an insurance claim on because she feared the water was coming from the storm, Hurricane Sandy. I told her, well, we get the tiles up. Also, she has a tenant in the basement that uses a shower stall. It hadn't been repaired for quite a while.
Okay.
And these are the pictures.
So tell me the work that you did do.
I fixed the shower stall inside and out.
How did you fix the shower stall?
I stripped it out totally.
Stripped out what was there and then recaulked it.
And recaulked the inside and the outside.
Because what was happening in the shower stall?
It was mold and mildew, and that's how I believe I got sick. I'm on my knees for a couple of hours, fixing the shower, for about an hour and a half, fixing the shower stall.
Okay, can I ask you a question that anybody who's done work on their house would like to know?
Yes.
What else is in the list that you're going to do for $500? Because that's really cheap for all the work that you're talking about.
Yes, it is.
Really cheap.
Because I do it as a hobby. I don't do it as to make a profit, a tremendous profit off of my customers.
Okay, that's fine. But here's the thing, though. It didn't work out. Why didn't it work out? According to her, every day you had a different reason for not going there.
No. When I first came there, I came there to get a deposit and the money for the materials, which she's responsible for. The first day, I bought the material. The next day, what
was the material, by the way?
Ceiling paint and silicone and paintbrushes.
Okay. Do you have the receipt for that?
No, she does. It's
do you have the receipt for that?
I do, because
May I see it?
It's
okay, go on.
inside of her bag. That day that she gave me that money, I told her that she's supposed to give me a deposit for the work.
Okay, I understand that. So she gave you $300. There's no dispute about that. All right. So on Friday, did you do any work?
I did the two main things that she said was a problem.
Which was?
I got up the tile floor that was in the boiler room.
Does anyone have a picture of the boiler room floor?
I do.
How many square feet of tile is it?
6 feet by 4.
Okay. You got the tile up. How long did that take?
It took me about maybe an hour and a half.
And then you also did the shower.
Bathroom shower stall, the inside and outside of the shower stall.
And then when does she say, I don't want you to come do this work?
That was about 4 days later.
Okay. And so your stories are not really that far apart.
That's
I
right.
mean, she says it's 6 days, you say it's 4 days.
Right.
So let me ask you a question. Have you ever done work on your house?
Yes.
Listen, I've done a lot of work on my house. My brother's a contractor, my father's a contractor. You know, we have a saying in Spanish, en casa herrero cuchillo de palo, which is the cobbler's son has no shoes.
Right.
Okay. But no matter who has done work on my house, I am so excited to see them when they bother to show up that I will make them breakfast.
Absolutely.
I will go around giving everyone the little thing of Cuban coffee. I want to be the house they picked that day. I know that's crazy, but that's kind of the way. So, I mean, I understand your frustration, but you know, you take the good with the bad. You know, you happen to marry a guy who has a very easygoing attitude. That's why he charged you so little. And then you don't really like that he's not intense about showing up that day. In any event, let me ask you a question. When she calls you and says, forget it, I don't want you to do the work, and I want you to return half the money because you did do some work, so I feel it right to pay you $150, including materials, and you give me back $150. At first you said yes.
No, that's not what she said. She said she wanted $100 back. The $100, she gave me a total of $300. $100 paid for the materials.
Well, the only receipt that she gave me was one for $44.
And what is the material on that
list? It just says AF ceiling and interior paint.
That's not all the material that's in her house.
Okay, so do you have another receipt?
Well, she should.
You
It
gave
was in
her
the bag.
more than one receipt.
I bought everything there.
In the bag.
Do you have other supplies besides paint in your house?
Spackle and roller brushes.
Okay.
Which total about $12. They don't total $100.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Hale. You had quoted to her, and this is how you got the job, that you were going to charge $500 for A through Z. How much of A through Z does your work represent?
The entirety of what I did is worth much more than $500.
I understand, but here's the problem that I'm having is this. You can't quote somebody $500 for items 1 through 15.
Right.
Do items 1 and 2, and then say, yeah, on second thought, 1 and 2 are worth more than half of whatever it is.
Out of the 4 rooms, I did 2
Here's what's going to happen, folks, because everything broke down between the two of you. I'm going to decide. This is what happens when you come to a judge. I'm going to decide what I think it's worth. And what I find, based on the contract you quoted, I am going to order that you be able to keep $100 beyond the $75 that I'm estimating for materials. And therefore, I am ordering you to return $125 of the amounts that she paid you. That's my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, let's see what the defendant has to say about this outcome. Come on over here. She didn't get everything she sued for. Here, turn around this way. But she did get something.
Yeah, that's a shame that, you know, you do your work, you give a person an excellent price, and then they try to get their money back to fix another repair. Her boiler room water heater is ruined. She needs money to
Did you quote too low of a price at the very beginning for this?
No, because I do that for all of my clients.
All right.
And it's not about the money.
All right, right down the hallway this way, okay? All right, so you come in here. What do you think? What do you think of what you got out of this?
You know what? I just wanted to get the money back, the money that I did spend, that he didn't do for the work. I think $125 to give back. It was better than nothing.
Do you think he tried to take advantage of you here, or
yes,
what do you
absolutely.
think? You tell me what happened.
I'm a single parent and I work 3 per diem jobs, so that's why I did go with him with $500, and I think that he's trying to use that against me.
What do you think, Harvey?
It's real simple. If something is really time sensitive, there are magic words. Time is of the essence. Write that down on the contract.